reason we're doing this is to let everyone know you're not alone. You know, it is a really good time to be a progressive. It really is. We've been doing this a long time. The energy out in the community, the ability to make changes. And so what we want to do is network, collaborate, give the new groups tools to grow, to thrive, to network, and then frankly for us to learn some things from you guys. But the main thing to say is what we're doing here is really important. The energy in the state across the country is amazing. And I tell you, this is where we start to take back the country. So today, we have a lot of presentations, we'll have question and answers, there'll be group participation. So I think what I'd like to do is introduce Marcia Marley, President of Blue Wave New Jersey, who's going to give us an overview of the progressive movement in New Jersey. Marcia Marley.
I'm going to give you a one-on-one, which many of you may know initially, about progressive groups in our state. And I want to start with a story that 12 years ago, Blue Wave was started. And we were started by people that were so depressed by an election. All right, a bunch of volunteers. Does it sound familiar? All right, but it wasn't this November. It was 12 years ago when Kerry lost. And we came together, like many of you after the election said, we cannot sit still. And we formed as volunteers. And that's why Blue Wave, I think, has an immense opportunity here and understanding on how volunteer organizations work. We were not started by a national group, as many other communities. We were started by volunteers who just wanted to do something. And then 12 years later, we're a more established group. Now, to give you a total landscape, we have community groups. That's us. That's many of you, new ones. And we have issue-only groups. We have those covering multi-issues. We have groups that do elections and issues. And you have to think about how these groups are organized. So, as organizations, if you want to do elections and you want to do issues, you are going to have a C4 at least, where others have a C3. And if you want to do serious money to give to the elections, then you have to have a PAC too. And some of these organizations have all three. Now, that's only part of the landscape, groups that do both elections and issues. There's also groups that organize just for the demographics, advocates for that demographic, or groups that only allow members in that demographics. On the progressive landscape, you take all of these groups, community groups, and then you take the unions that are on the other side, and that's how you get effective advocacy. The unions come in as partners. They also come in sometimes with money, and we work on issues through coalitions. Now, another question is those groups that are outside on election groups, groups that train, like Emerge. How many know who Emerge is? Yeah, good. That's wonderful. It's a great group to train women. But there are other groups that train in the state too, and train minorities. And finally, there's the Democratic Party groups. So, are there progressive groups in the Democratic Party in New Jersey? Huh? Yes. There's a progressive caucus. There's the Young Democrats. And there's also a very effective New Leaders Council, which is not directly related to the Democratic Party, but it is basically Democratic. So that's the landscape. And it includes, even before November's election, hundreds, and I mean hundreds of groups. So I was going to put up a PowerPoint of all the groups, and I thought, No, because I could not get them all there, and there would be some, why didn't you put this group or the other group? So, there are hundreds. Now, how do we make sure that we're effective in advocacy with so many groups? And this is where the coalitions that are part of the landscape are so important. Those coalitions are for issues, and they are also, and this is really important, for influencing our legislators. So to tell you a story about Rothman. Who knows who Congressman Rothman was? Everybody? All right. So we had a group with Citizen Action, and this was before, I think, Working Families, come together. A lot of anti-poverty groups, housing groups, etc., go in, and we were arguing for expansion to low-income families subsidies. And we were there were 10 leaders of different groups sitting there arguing of why he, as a Democrat, should do this from Bergen County and Passaic. And he said, come make me. All right? He said, you've got to make me do this. Tell me why it's in my interest. So even though he was a Democrat and we were appealing to his moral interest, he said, tell me why I should. That was a very important lesson to me. It said, bring the signatures from the district. Tell me why my district wants this. Tell me why I'm going to be affected if I vote against it. So to give you an example of a more effective lobbying effort was when another coalition headed by Garden State Equality went to Sweeney's office, Senator Sweeney, and said, we want you to vote for marriage equality. And I was there. And we also appealed to him as a Democrat and why it was right. We had stories, we had wonderful stories from his district. But we also had thousands of petitions from his district. So initially when we said the stories, he said, well, you know, I have to follow the interests of my district. That's exactly what he said. And then we showed him the petitions. And then he said, oh, and didn't say anything. So come prepared, right? Form coalitions. What is the progressive landscape in New Jersey? We are effective when we work together. And we work together on the issues. I am a policy wonk. I've been at this for a long time, so you can call me, grandmother. But I am a policy wonk. And I love to work on issues. But I know that to be effective with the legislators, you have to make sure you know what their interest is, you have to appeal to it, and you have to work together.